Hey everyone, welcome back, and let's write some more neat code today. So today let's solve the problem, make two arrays equal by reversing subarrays. So this is an easy problem, and at first glance you might be wondering why. It seems a little difficult for an easy problem, but I'm going to show you that there's a pretty simple way to think about this problem. Basically, the idea is we're given two arrays. They're always going to be of the same length, so we don't have to worry about that, but we basically want to take elements, I guess they say the second array, and we can choose any subarray. So it could start from the beginning or it could go through the middle, whatever, any subarray, and then reverse those numbers. So we want to know, can we turn this array into the original array? In this example, we actually can. So it's not super obvious how, but firstly, we take these first three elements and reverse them. I think then we get 1, 4, 2, 3. And just so you know, the target array is just 1, 2, 3, 4. So we're trying to kind of get it in sorted order, at least in this example. So next, I think we can swap these two, and then we'll get 1, 2, 4, 3. And then we can swap the last two, and then we'll have 1, 2, 3, 4. So it seems kind of difficult. I mean, to brute force it, there's going to be a lot of possible subarrays, but when you're clever, you can think about it in terms of this. We just want every single element. Let's start with 1. We want 1 to go in the beginning. We want to get it over here. Doesn't really matter where the rest of the elements are. After that, we want to get 2 in the second position. Then we want to get 3 in the third position and 4 in the last position. The easiest way to do this is just take this element and just keep swapping it with its left neighbor. So that would end up looking something like this. 1, 2, 4. And then 3. So now 2 is already in the right spot, and then we could swap these two. The way I'm thinking about this is definitely not going to minimize the number of like reversing subarrays or anything like that, but we're not asked to minimize it. We just want to know, can we actually form the target array? So at this point, it's not a matter of how we swap the elements. It's only a matter of, do we actually have all the elements in the second array that we have in the first array? Basically, we're asking is, regardless of the order of these two arrays, are these arrays equal? I'm sure you already know this because you've definitely gone through the Leetcode 150 list, and you're probably tired of me even mentioning this, but once again, Leetcode 150, I always talk about it because it always comes up. This is pretty much the exact same problem as valid anagram, and so the solution is going to be similar. I'll quickly mention the trivial solution. We can just take both arrays and sort them, which is going to be n log n time. Both of the arrays are of equal length. And then after we sort them, we can just check if they are both equal to each other. That's not the most efficient solution, though. The most efficient solution is going to be about counting the elements in each array, because we could technically have duplicates. We might have multiple 4s. We might have multiple 1s. So we want to know, does the count of every single element in each array match the count in the other array? So counting is generally done with a hash map. So that's how I'm going to do this. So if we were to create a hash map of both of these, we'd see that 1 has a count of 1 in this case, 2 has a count of 1, 3 has a count of 1, and 4 has a count of 1 as well. Obviously, we could have, some elements with multiple, like we could have 3 2s, we could have 4 3s, something like that. And then we'd have the second hash map, and we would just want to check, are the elements in every single hash map equal? And also that there aren't any keys in the other hash map that don't exist in both hash maps. Visually, I think this is pretty simple to understand, but coding it up might be a little bit tricky. So let's get into that. This is going to be a linear time solution though, because we're just going to be iterating over both inputs and then building the hash map. Hash maps have constant operations for every single thing, so that's why it's efficient, and space complexity is going to be O of n for the hash map as well. So first, let me actually just show you the most trivial way to code this up. Python makes it so easy. So we can do something called a counter on the target array, and we can do counter on the second array. This is basically building a hash map, counting the occurrences of each element. And for us to check if these are exactly equal, well, Python makes that pretty easy too. Just use the equal sign. So we can just return this. So that's the one-liner solution to this. I know you might consider it cheating, but I do feel it's worth mentioning because it does work. But maybe in a real interview, you will be asked to elaborate on these. You might be asked to implement the counter yourself. So let's actually get into that. Let's say we have count 1 and count 2, and both of these are going to be hash maps, and they're going to be default dictionaries. So the default value is going to be an integer. That's going to make things slightly easier for us. So what we're going to do is iterate over both arrays. Python makes that pretty easy. We can iterate over both of them at the same time using something like this. For n1, n2 in zip, the target array and the other array. If you wanted to do this the original way, you could do something like this for I in range length of target, because we know both of them are the same. And then to get n1, you could just do something like target at index I. To get n2, you could do something like array at index I. So this is equivalent to this. This is obviously a little bit shorter. You can learn exactly how to do that in my, I think, Python for coding interviews course. We just want to take, let's say, the elements from target, which is going to be n1, is going to correspond to count 1. So we're going to do this, increment it by 1. Same thing for count 2. We're going to take n2 and increment that by 1. The reason I made these default dictionaries is here. This is basically the same as doing a count 1, like n1 is equal to itself plus 1. Obviously, if the key doesn't exist in the hash map already, with a regular hash map, we would get a key error. But with default dictionaries, it'll return 0 as the default value because we specified it as an integer. Again, I think this is also covered in Python for coding interviews. But now we want to check that both of these are equal. The first thing we're going to check is that the length of both of them are equal, because even though the length of the input arrays were equal, we also want to check that the distinct elements in both of these are also equal, now that we've kind of eliminated duplicates. So let's check length of count 1 is not equal to count 2. In that case, let's return false. Otherwise, before we're allowed to return true, we also have to check that the count of each element is equal. So let's just go through all the keys in one of the hash maps, so n in count 1, and if the count is not equal to the same element in count 2, then we would return false. And the fact that we have the length check up here will make sure that if these two hash maps are not equal, this will eventually evaluate to false, because we know both of the inputs were of the same length. So if they have the same number of distinct elements, the count of all of them should be equal if they are equal. Otherwise, the count is going to differ at some point, and in that case, we would return false. So if these don't return false, we return true. And you can see that this will also work. But there actually is a way to get this down to just using a single hash map. So let me kind of optimize this just a tiny bit. Let's just have a single hash map. Let's call it count. We're going to do the same thing up here, but with the first element, we're going to increment the count of that. With count from the second element, with the same hash map, we're actually going to decrement the count. So you might be able to see where I'm going with this. We don't need the length check anymore, but we do need to go through every key in the hash map, and we need to make sure that the length is equal to 0. Because if it's not equal to 0 at any of the keys, that means that either we had extra elements in the first target or we had some extra elements here. It could be positive or it could be negative, but it should be 0. So if it's not 0, we would return false. Otherwise, down here, we return true. So let's just run this. And you can see that also works. These runtimes are pretty random. All of the solutions I showed you had actually the same time and space complexity. Obviously, this one only used one hash map, but the big O space complexity is still technically the same. If you found this helpful, check out Leetcode.io. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you soon.